Have you ever stopped to wonder whether your life is truly your own? Every morning you wake up, make choices, what to wear, what to eat, whom to speak to, what paths to follow. But are these decisions really yours? Or are you simply moving along lines already drawn, a traveler on tracks laid down by forces older and greater than you, nature, upbringing, chance, even destiny? This question haunted the ancient world. To the Greeks, freedom was not about politics or slogans, but about the very core of human existence. What makes an action mine? When can I be praised or blamed? Do I rule my actions, or do they rule me? The Stoics believed everything unfolds with necessity, like links in an unbreakable chain. But Aristotle, always the one who walked the middle path, carved out a more human vision. Freedom is not absolute, but it is real, and it lies in our capacity to choose with reason. Aristotle was not interested in illusions. He knew that much of life is outside our control. None of us chooses the time or place of our birth. None of us controls the weather, or fortune, or the actions of others. You do not choose your parents, your body, your childhood. These belong to fate. And yet, Aristotle insisted, there is something that belongs to you alone. The power of deliberate choice, what he called prohairesis. What is this strange Greek word? It is not impulse, not instinct, not blind desire. It is the act of reasoned decision. When you pause, reflect, weigh alternatives, and choose a course of action, this is prohairesis. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is easy pleasure. The other is difficult virtue. If you rush blindly, pulled by desire, that is not true freedom. But if you stop, consider, reflect on what is noble and what is base, then take a step forward, that step is yours. That is freedom. Think of a child reaching for sweets. The child acts by impulse. There is no reflection, only desire. But think of an adult choosing to save money rather than spend it all, or resisting anger in order to preserve peace. Here, reason enters. Here, there is deliberate choice. Aristotle saw freedom in this space, where reason and will work together to claim ownership of action. This is why Aristotle linked freedom so closely to responsibility. If you act under compulsion, with a knife at your throat, the act is not truly yours. If you act in ignorance, not knowing what you are doing, then your responsibility is diminished. But if you act with knowledge, voluntarily, by your own decision, then you are responsible. The action belongs to you. And if it belongs to you, then so does the praise or the blame. Imagine someone pushed into a crime by fear. The blame does not rest fully on them. But imagine someone who plans, reflects, and knowingly chooses injustice. That person carries the weight of guilt. For Aristotle, this is the essence of freedom, not the absence of external forces, but the presence of deliberate self-rule. Isn't that fascinating? In our modern age, neuroscientists tell us that the brain makes decisions milliseconds before we are aware of them. Psychologists speak of unconscious drives shaping our behavior. Sociologists remind us that society molds us from birth. At times, it feels as if our sense of freedom is just a comforting illusion. But Aristotle's voice cuts across time. Whatever influences exist, the heart of freedom is ownership. Did you know what you were doing? Did you deliberate? Did the action come from you? If yes, then the action is yours, and so is its moral weight. To bring this to life, picture a sailor caught in a storm. The wind howls, the waves rise, the ship is tossed. He cannot command the sea. He cannot silence the wind. He cannot stop the storm. These belong to fate, but he can still adjust the sails, steer the rudder, tighten the ropes. In this small but crucial space, his freedom lives. He may not control the storm, but he controls his response. And in that response, his responsibility, his dignity, his humanity is revealed. Aristotle also knew that freedom was not a one-time gift, but a lifelong practice. Every choice we make shapes our character. If you choose generosity again and again, you become generous. If you choose courage in the face of fear, Courage becomes part of your soul. But if you choose cowardice or greed or cruelty, then those choices shape you as well. This is why freedom, for Aristotle, is inseparable from virtue. You are free not only in single actions, but in shaping the person you become. Your freedom is your responsibility to yourself. Think about your own life. How many times do you act automatically, without thinking, scrolling through your phone, repeating the same habits, following routines? How many times do you lash out in anger or jealousy before pausing to reflect? These actions may not feel fully yours. They are impulses, shadows of habit. But when you stop, breathe, reflect, and choose, then you taste Aristotle's freedom. You are no longer a puppet of impulse, but the author of your act. And yet, there is a darker side to this truth. For Aristotle, ignorance does not always excuse. If you remain ignorant because you refuse to learn, because you avoid reflection, then your ignorance itself is chosen. A drunkard who causes harm cannot always claim, "I was not myself." If he freely chose the path of drunkenness, the responsibility returns to him. Freedom is demanding. It refuses excuses. It asks us to carry the burden of our own lives. But perhaps that is why Aristotle's view still feels alive today. In a world where so much seems out of our hands, politics, economics, even technology, there remains that sacred space of choice. You may not decide what storm comes, but you decide how to face it. You may not control the entire story of your life, but you write your character in every scene. And here lies a subtle beauty. Freedom is not about controlling everything. That is impossible. Freedom is about controlling yourself. It is about responding to the world with reason, with awareness, with responsibility. In that sense, freedom is always within reach, because it lives in the smallest acts of choice. So, when you ask yourself, "Am I free? Do I control my life?" remember Aristotle's wisdom. You are free, not when you escape all necessity, but when you claim your actions as your own. You are free when you act with knowledge, when you deliberate, when you choose not only what is pleasant, but what is good. Freedom is not loud. It does not shout. It is quiet, steady, reflective, but it is real. And maybe in the end, freedom and fate are not enemies at all. Fate sets the conditions, the family you were born into, the body you inherit, the world you inhabit. But freedom lives in your response. Fate gives the stage, but you write your role. The script may begin without your consent, but each line you speak is yours. This is the lesson Aristotle offers across the centuries. You may not control the universe, but you control your choices. You may not right the storm, but you steer the ship. You may not be able to change everything, but you can change yourself. And in that lies the deepest form of freedom. So walk carefully. Choose deliberately. Act with knowledge. Because every choice is a seed, and every seed grows into the tree of your character. And in that character, the measure of your freedom is revealed. This was Silent Dose.